Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the second podcast of the Huntress Realm. We are welcome today with Mr. Israel Rico from San Antonio, Texas.
Hello, how you guys doing today? Rock on.
Yeah. So, um, for those who don't know Israel, you want to introduce yourself? Let us know your awesomeness.
Sure. My name is Isreal Rico. I am known as Izzy in the art world or so. I have a small business called Art Star Inc. And basically, I'm a local artist here where I mix Chicano imagery and pop culture, including horror artwork as well. And you could find me at a lot of the local horror cons and a lot of the local art shows that are here or art markets here in San Antonio.
Awesome. Um, so yeah, you just recently, well, unfortunately due to rain, it got kind of washed out. But I know you were going to do an event with Suspiria, correct?
Yes, it was Barbara Mangolfi. It was at Small Talk Bar. That was actually organized by Necroflesh Events, Christina, who is also Christina Zombie. But apparently we got rained out. Weren't able to set up outside, but I still stuck around to do the Q&A, the meet and greet. Got to meet Barbara Mangolfi, very nice person, awesome person, and it was cool to do the Q&A with her while Suspiria was playing in the background. It was just so cool. It was just an awesome event.
That movie is a trip me movie. I saw that movie for the first time ever the other day, and I was like, wow, like I,
Y-
I can see why it was scary back then,
mhm.
and now
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow, like that was a very
Yeah, what I love about it is the use of colors, and that
mm,
I think that's what intrigued me more, because Argento was he would create a mood in that movie. It's totally different from his other movies like Inferno and all this latter stuff. But there is, if you want to learn more about it, there is a documentary called Panico, and it chronicalizes most of Dario Argento's movies, and it's on Shutter, and I highly recommend you watching it, or who our viewers to watch it. It's on Shutter, and it's a very good documentary, and they interview a lot of his close people and his daughter especially. So I highly recommend that documentary.
wow. So what got you into painting and drawing and stuff like that?
Well, what got me into a drawing, I want to say, was back in, oh shit, I was in fifth grade, so I want to say probably 1970. Uh, I want to say 76, 77, 79, around there. And I started reading comic books and started liking the artwork of John Romita, who pretty much put Spider-Man on the map in the 70s and 80s. He just recently passed away last year. And the more and more I read comic books, the more and more I got into art. Um, got into Todd McFarlane's art as well, very complex art, kind of evolutionized Spider-Man in a sense. And then I started getting more into like the heavy metal artwork, kind of like the darker artwork and stuff, and like Iron Maiden, the artist Derek Briggs, who did all the Iron Maiden covers. Got to meet him, got to meet one of my idols, and that was cool. He was just awesome and stuff like that to meet. And from there, I got to a point that I wanted to be a comic book artist at one point in time, but then it was just that the demand was so, I mean, the competition to be a comic book artist is just, it's dense because everybody wants to be a comic book artist in a sense. So I told myself, okay, well, I need to have a plan B, sort of types. So one of the movies that I saw was Blood and Blood Out, and it was a movie that pretty much changed my life. Just studying the role of Crucito as an artist, I started to get more into my culture. I started doing my genealogy, and from there, I started. I got involved with the cultural arts project called Sonato Cultural Arts back in 1995. I ended up doing two murals, and when I was working on my last mural, which is located on Brazo Street, it's called Leyendas Aztecas. Uh, we recently actually, me and another great crew, April Don Ceja, Crystal Torres, who headed the restoration project, we restored it 2 August, 2 summers ago, and we had the rededication of it. But the late Manuel Castillo, who was the executive director at the time, he says, "Hey, well, what do you want to, what do you want to do with your artwork? Past murals." And I told him I kind of want to mix Chicano imagery and pop culture, and he told me, "Well, it can't be done, right?" But I think that was his way of like trying to push me to see if I can be able to do it and stuff like that. But sadly, before I could get to that point, he passed away in 2008. And but ever since I've been doing a lot of markets, I've been doing that. I've been pushing the boundaries with that, but also doing it with horror as well, and other types of genres of pop culture.
Awesome. So I know the answer to this question. What is your favorite painting that you have drawn?
My favorite painting, geez, I have so many. I think the one of my favorites is the one that I did called "Escaping McBuntercoli," and that was when I got shot during a parade. But it mimics the Dia de los Muertos and me escaping death, so to say. And it was there was a sniper that was shooting at people back in 1979, and I was 9 years old at the time, and that's probably one of my favorite personal collection of paintings that I've had. Of course, I've done many others, but that one kind of stands out because it's more personal to me, and I've just done so many paintings. It's just hard to pinpoint, but that would be one that just hits close to home, pretty much.
So going back to that topic, that was a really controversial topic when you made that painting, correct?
It was actually a Fiesta medal that I did back in 2019. It was the first time I was designing Fiesta medals. Actually, I had designed six. I worked with Kevin McLaughlin from Fiesta Medals Direct. So if anybody wants Fiesta medals made, go hit him up. He does some very good work, and we collaborated and we did six medals. I've done I think uh, the last four consecutive medals I've designed for Blanco Cafe. And they're all Iron Maiden medals because the owner is a big Iron Maiden fan.
Oh
So
wow.
you can get the latest one there at Blanco Cafe. But this my first medal was something that I wanted to do. It was like a labor of love, so to say. And I took my painting and I put it on the medal, and that became controversial because I had posted it on Facebook, on the Fiesta Medal pages, and I got all this flack like, "Oh, well, how can you glorify the Fiesta Sniper? Da 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 da. This and this. I mean, and what about the proceeds that are going to go to the families and stuff like that?" I only made 50 medals for that little small run because I didn't know what the reaction was going to be, to be honest. And basically those medals went to mainly the people that were there. And what was so surreal about the whole experience of it is that the news interviewed me about it, and I pretty much told them what happened, how it happened, what happened, and all that stuff. But what was surreal about the whole experience is the people that had gotten the medal from me, they were there. It was kind of like, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction or Amores Perros. It's kind of like you have that one incident, and then you got like a lot of different views of people at that same incident. I mean, that's what it kind of felt like. I had one lady who ended up buying six medals from me, and the sixth one was for her child that was unborn at the time. She was pregnant, and she
Oh
was
my
there. She was
gosh.
there when it happened. Another lady bought two of them from me because she was stuck on Locust Street because they had closed off a certain perimeter. One of my wife's friends was across the street from where I was at, and she ended up getting some too as well. Another friend of mine who I went to school with, she was supposed to go to that parade, and she was sitting behind where the sniper was at. She didn't go. Her friend went, and her friend ended up dying. So,
Oh
so
man.
yeah, so it was just one of those things that was kind of like, wow. And so when the news got hold of it, I told them my story and all that stuff, and of course my Facebook, my messenger blew up saying, hey, do you have the medal? Do you have this medal? And I'm like, they're all gone. By the time the segment went that Saturday night, uh, I was already, I had already sold those medals were gone. And the irony is that, they were here giving me shit about it, but yet I'm like, you know what? Give the Fiesta Commission shit because in '79, they ended up holding a flambeau parade after 5 people had died.
The
So
next
it's
day?
like the next day, yeah. If you look in the Express News, they said the flambeau will go as scheduled. So I mean, the
Wow.
Fiesta had no the Vista Commission had no fucking disregard. I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me of as a recent news, like the mayor, oh, we're gonna, COVID hit. Oh, we're gonna have Fiesta. We're gonna have Fiesta in November. Ain't gonna happen. Okay, well, we're gonna have Fiesta, next April. I mean, and they ended up having it in the summer. It kind of reminded me of the mayor in Jaws. Those beaches will stay open. There's a fucking shark out there. That's how I
There's a
see it. I
shirt.
mean, yeah, I think I made a meme of it on Facebook too, because that mayor kind of reminded me of the mayor in freaking in the movie Jaws. It's like it's like, and nobody knew what the hell was happening during COVID, so it's like
Right.
it's kind of like that. So it's kind of like tongue in cheek and stuff like that. But that's a part of San Antonio history that I said in my interview. It can't be erased, but we gotta remember it because if those stories don't stay alive, then what's the point? We
Right.
celebrate Fourth of July. A lot of people, a lot of the American and British uh, uh, soldiers died during the Revolutionary War. We celebrate Memorial Day. I mean, for all the soldiers who have fallen. I mean, uh, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things. It's kind of like it's like a tongue in cheek type of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I was gonna share that picture actually, because you sent me some pictures.
Yes.
Um, amazing, amazing, amazing pictures. Um, and let me see. Do, do, do. So this is the medal
Mhm.
right here.
That is the actual painting. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. That's
yes.
the painting.
Look at that. That is just wow. You
And
can you can
if you look at the
feel your
if you look at the
emotions in this, and
skyline,
that's what I love about it so much.
yeah, if you look at the skyline, that's the old skyline. You don't see like the San Antonio Frost Bank Tower. This is I, I I wanted the background to depict the way the skyline was back then.
Yeah,
And they used to have those little welcome to fiesta banners with red and green. They used to have those all the time. Now they're different, of course. Through time
yeah.
it's changed. And then if you look at the bullet's hitting my arm, but you see like all this confetti coming out.
Confetti.
Yeah.
Wow, that is just amazing. This is my favorite one that you've drawn. See if it'll pop up for me right here.
Oh yeah, that's a flaming hot chingona. Yeah.
I love Frida. I love hot Cheetos. I'm a hot Cheeto girl.
Yeah. I gotta stop eating those. They're so
That is
that
my
movie,
all-time
that
favorite.
flaming hot movie got me addicted to those. Yeah, there's the medal.
That was a good movie. Fiesta Sniper. And
Yeah,
then it has the date that it happened.
yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. And then this one is also one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one I did. I forgot the
What got
title of
you
that
to
one.
draw?
yeah. I forgot the title of that one, but it's kind of like that was I think painted uh during the I think 2018. I think I painted that one.
That one is just, oh, it's
Hmm.
paintings like that are just so breathtaking to me.
Hmm.
Just being able to feel the artist's emotion behind what he draws.
Hmm.
And it's just, Anthony, the Wraith King, says that he wants to hear about your Darth Vader.
Oh, my Darth Vader. Oh, okay. Well, that one was actually me and my friends, we went to a party one time and we got so drunk. I mean, we literally got so drunk and that I started we went to my best friend's house and we were watching Return of the Jedi, right? And I was reciting it and I was like doing it in Spanish. I mean, this is how fucked up I was. So I was like, the Ewoks were like fucking fighting, and I go, Hansel, I was, cállate, pinche teddy bear, hija de su chingada madre, da da da. Yeah, I'm just ad libbing the whole thing, and my friends, they're like laughing, right? So there's a part where Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader they're fighting, and he goes, te voy a mochar la mano como me hiciste in Empire Strikes Back, cabrón. And he ends up cutting his arm, so that's the part that Anthony is talking about because I had actually told that story on another podcast, but yeah, yeah, I used to do that with my friends. I mean, during my younger days, we used to watch movies and I would translate them in Spanish. Of course, I would use the Galo Chicano slang language, like "Cállate los hocico, baboso,"
I would love to watch those videos.
yeah, yeah. So you'd have to get me with a good bottle of tequila and a couple of beers, and then I'll be like, "Hey, qué cabrón." Digo,
Well,
necesitamos
Anthony's,
decimos que necesitamos aquí destruir el pinche Death Star porque nos van a chingar el emperador and all that, kind of like stupid shit. I mean, it was just stupid shit. I mean, I was 20 at the time, so at 20, you got no cares in the world. You just wanna work, party, and all that stuff. So BK before kids, of course. So yeah.
well, Anthony's actually on his way down to San Antonio. I'm pretty sure he'd make that happen
No, cool.
just so he could hear it.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, so but that's it. I mean, those are just one of the many things. And another thing that I also had mentioned to Anthony, actually, speaking about the Fiesta Sniper too, uh, was that I didn't get operated on until maybe like 2 days later.
No.
Because what happened was is that my dad used to again yeah, before our interview I had told you that my dad worked for a radio station. He
Right.
worked at Radio Cuca, and Radio Cuca at the time was known for broadcasting the Dallas Cowboys games in Spanish. So they were
Mhm.
like number one during the whole 70s and stuff like that. So my dad was super like super religious. I mean I'm talking about Southern Baptist, Bible Belt. We got to go to church. We got to do this. So that Friday they had to go sing at some choir at some church in Austin, right? So I'm sitting there on the church pew with this Jack Nicholson shining what the fuck look, where he does that look where he's just staring. I had that look on the in the church pew. So then my dad goes into work the following day because he got clipped with a couple of shotgun pellets in his back. He goes in the next day with shotgun pellets in his back, does his radio show, does his cabina, this is Isreal Rico, su servidor, tocando las favoritas del año and all that bullshit. And then it wasn't until that evening that he took me and my mom and himself. We went to the doctor. He didn't even tell his employer that he got clipped. So, so yeah. But typical Mexican dads. My dad was, God bless his soul. He was so reserved. I mean, I don't know if it's just something that that he didn't tell anybody about that. He didn't tell anybody until much later que no, pues fuimos al pinche desfile y nos balacearon a la chingada and all this stuff. So yeah, but yeah, and it was just weird. And the more I talk about it like with my brothers because we went to go see my brother march, and we missed him. He actually had already marched, so
Wow.
he didn't know because before he marched with the Wheatley High School ROTC, which is now Breckenridge High School. He marched with the rifle team, with the ROTC rifle team. They would do like their little cadences and shit. That they
Mhm.
throw the rifles, 10 HUD parade, resi que la chingada, and all that stuff. And so we had missed him. And so when we got home, it was like we didn't even know. Like, my mom was worried sick because this is before. I'm starting to sound like Gilligan's Island. No light, no tel, no cell phone. No motor car, not a single
Your car.
luxury. Well, we were fucking pobre, so of course, you could add the luxury on that one,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, this is before cell phones. This is before Facebook, internet, and all that. And because if I called you at your house and you didn't answer, it was like, hey, I call you 20 minutes later, you pick up the phone. Hey, where the fuck were you? Oh, I
Yeah.
went to the grocery store. I went to the store with my mom. I mean, it's not like you can pick up your cell phone and just, okay, I got your 360. I got you,
Yeah.
I got you there, that shit was unheard of back in the day. So when my brother walks in, all chingon with his RTC uniform, my mom, like, you could see like that worry, of that anxiety of relief on my mom, mijo, and my dad, of course, "Dónde chingados estabas, hija de su chingada madre?" And of course he's like, and my brother's like, what? Why are you getting after me for? It's like, no, que nos balacearon, fuimos a verte el pinche desfile. My dad was pissed. I mean, my dad was very religious, but man, he would cuss like a he would cuss like a sailor. Oh my gosh. And so
That's
yeah, so and like I said, I kicked my brother, and I said, I go, shit, if Dad would have waited to take me to the hospital, I go, you would have had a one-arm artist brother. Gangrene would have set in. And actually,
yeah.
we're at Wing Daddies when we were talking about that, and it's funny because his kids, my nephews, they always say, that's the first time that you ever made my dad laugh so hard. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, we still remember that. So yeah, but he didn't even know. I mean, my brother didn't even know that had happened because they had already marched. So,
Wow.
but
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
On that split little second.
it was crazy. It was a crazy time. But now with technology, now it's just like, I mean, now it's like, if something's going on, I mean, you could go Facebook Live and what have you, or
Yeah.
you could find that person with it through a cell phone and all that stuff. Back then it was just virtually impossible. So
Yep.
I mean, smoke signal, but yeah.
Send a little pigeon, little
You-
birds.
I know, send a little relax with the pigeon with the message wrapped up on it.
Little wrapped up on his little ankle.
Yeah,
There you go. Smoke signals, SOS.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Um, so you know that I'm into the big time paranormal. Have you ever experienced anything on
Oh,
growing up in San Antonio with it being so rich and diverse in history and stuff?
actually, I do have I do have a story, and I hope the audience is listening. This was back when we lived in Elgin, Illinois, because I've lived in San Antonio for over 40 plus years. I was born in Elgin, Illinois, which is a little city outside of. Well, it's not a city because it's already part of Chicago. Because it's pretty much like, what is it called? It's kind of like San Antonio, Austin, Metroplex, kind of like that. It's
Hmm.
Chicago's probably Elgin is probably like from here to San Marcos, from San Antonio to San
Okay.
Marcos. So we lived in a house on Franklin Avenue, 467 Franklin Avenue. Okay, and we lived in that house, and my dad at the time as I said, we said off camera, he used to work for a factory. He used to work for this company called Chicago Rawhide, and they used to do the metal plates for like the emblems for like vehicles, for like logos and stuff like that. And my dad used to work third shift, and then he would come home, and then he would go to sleep, and then he would wake up. Well, the house, the way it is, the way it was modeled. You go in, the living room was like very rectangular, and then if you turn to the left, there is um, the dining room. In the dining room, there's three windows. Between the three windows, you could see outside the driveway. I have to explain the way the house is to get an understanding what happened at the house. On the opposite side where the living room is at, there's some stairs. There's 5 flights of stairs, and then it turns and then it goes up into our rooms. Then there's a kitchen area, a door that leads into the basement that you could see catty corner, and then outside into the yard, which is a big yard. There's a neighbor on the other side of the house, on the other side, and then you had two fences, chain link fences on each side, right? There's no chain link fences up in the front. So one day, my dad, he gets up and it's like 10 in the morning, and in the wall between the living room and the dining room, there was 4 pictures of my. It was my oldest brother who just passed away in June, my sister, my second oldest brother, and then myself, and they're diagonal. And my dad was in the living room watching television, and he heard something fall. So he goes and he looks, and he thought it was the pictures that fell. And he goes and he looks, and he doesn't see anything. So he goes back, and then he hears that noise again. Well, it turns out he goes back and he's looking at the photos, and all of a sudden the photos start shaking, and the photos fly at him. He told me that when they flew at him, he felt like the glass had broken on him and that it cut him. And so when he cowered, so that the glass wouldn't get in his eyes, he like blinked, and the next minute he looked down. He goes, "Sam, I'm gonna have to pick up everything." He looks down. There's nothing there on the floor, and he looks up, and the pictures are up there, all in the same order. Okay, so the next incident that happened was in that house was that my dad was doing something in the kitchen. He comes out. My oldest brother Ruben um, was there in the house, and I remember when that incident happened. And I remember there was this man that was walking back and forth in the driveway. It's a small driveway. My brother used to have a '69 Roadrunner, and my dad used to have this Chrysler Voyager van. And it was this man that was dressed like in a black suit. He had a hat, and he was walking, and he was looking inside the 3 windows in the dining room, the 3 mirrors in the I mean windows in the dining room. Excuse me. So my dad tells my brother, he goes, "Mijo, do me a favor, go out through the back, through the backyard, and I'm gonna go through the front, and we're gonna corner this guy, right?" So they go and they meet, and they see nobody. Now, I told you the backyard is huge. My brother would have seen him running over there. There's no fences in the front of the yard. My dad would have seen him running. So there was nobody there, right? So one time my dad said, there's something going on here. So he ended up with the lights off. He decided to play this little game. He decided to turn off all the lights in the house, and he stayed with a flashlight. And he goes, he says, I'm gonna catch whatever the fuck's going on, right? So he's sitting there all night, and he just decides not to. He just gives up. He goes up the 5th flight of stairs, and he feels something going like that to him, the back of his neck, right? Another incident that happened in the room was that he saw this. My mom and dad were getting ready, and they saw this orb cut from the middle of the room, stops, and then goes out. Now, the thing that I hated was I hated going down to get a glass of water down into the kitchen area. I literally had to wake up my mom or my brother to take me down, because every time I would go down and I'd walk in towards the kitchen area, there was a door that was catty corner that led into the basement. And it was a glass window that was on that door that led into the basement. And I would see somebody going like that through the window. Yeah. So that then I had my aunt and my uncle Benjamin, who they lived in Eagle Pass. My uncle Benjamin used to work in the fields, and during the winter they would stay with us. And my dad and my uncle, they would, of course, they were brothers. They would love to drink. They would get together, drink, and talk about their old times back in Piedras Negras. And so my tia Maria was asleep in the basement, and she had a nickname for my for my uncle. He used to call him mi rey, right? And one time she was asleep, and she felt someone like lying next to her, and she would go, "Oh, mi rey, ya regaste," and then she reached over, and nobody was there, but she felt somebody lying down next to her, and then she goes, "Oye, Benjamín, ¿por qué me estás asustando? Chingado." He goes, ¿qué te hice yo? He goes, "Pues veniste a la cama y te fuiste." He goes, "I didn't go down there," right? So that was another incident, and then my dad got I mean, it was at the point where he was at his wit's end, that he was banging on the in the house, in the wall areas, to see if maybe there was a secret compartment, a secret room. I don't know if you've seen The Conjuring. Remember where they found that secret
Yeah,
room?
but they probably,
Well,
yeah.
well, a cousin of mine had told me that there are some houses in Illinois that have those secret rooms, and those
Oh my
secret
gosh.
rooms were to hide people. But me, I was thinking maybe it was something that, because that house was built in the 20s, and prohibition was still going on.
Yeah.
So you figure they were probably hiding their stash. Then there was another incident where my dad got up one time. I think it was one of his days off, and there was this lady that lived behind us. She was dressed in white, and she was walking around with a candle on the edge of our fence line, the chain
What the
link
hell?
fencing. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that one was. I don't know what that one was about. But somebody did die in that house.
Oh my
Somebody did die
gosh.
in that house. Now, I think I've covered all the bases as far as as far as all that happened in that house, but the story gets even better. I actually was going to do an update on it this past Halloween, but I wasn't able to. So here's the update. It turns out that I got into this group called What's Happening in Elgin, Illinois. And I said, hey, I was born in Elgin, Illinois. I was born in Sherman Hospital. I went to Sheridan Elementary. I go, does anybody have any information on this house? And I took the pictures from Zillow or from Google Maps, and I put 467 Franklin Boulevard. Does anybody have any information on this house? A lot of paranormal activity. What's going on in this house? Yada yada yada. Okay, fine.
Hmm.
So I posted that Sunday on a Sunday night. By Monday morning, my phone was blowing up. Boom, boom, boom. Notifications, notifications, boom. People were actually driving and taking pictures of that house, right?
Oh my
They were
gosh.
stopping and taking pictures of the house, and people were saying, "What's the history on it? What's the history on it?" Well, of course, I would have to, you know, text the 66 books of the Bible,
Yeah.
text, I mean, it would have gone like multiple, and it's so hard to explain because you have to, in order to explain what's going on, you have to visually tell people how the house looks like,
Yeah.
and to get an idea. So it turns out that I got a message and somebody told me, "Hey, bro, that's my cousin's house. Can you remove your post? Because people are going to my house and taking pictures of it." I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh shit!" I said, "Oh, okay." I go, so out of respect for that family there, I said, "Well, shit, I don't want to embarrass them."
yeah.
And so he says, "Can you call my cousin?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I took out the post, just out of respect for them, because to me it looked like that house was vacant, because
Right.
usually with Google Maps you see no cars, you usually see people outside, they blank them out and stuff. So I called the gentleman, I forgot his name, and we were just talking, and he goes, I go, hey man, I'm sorry that, I used to live in that house, and it was my childhood, home. I lived there till like I was about 5 years old or so. And I'm describing the house the way it looks. And he goes, I go, yeah, there's a tree stump that's cut in half. He goes, yeah, that tree stump is still there. He goes, how old were you again? I lived there from 1972 to like 1976. And he goes, how do you remember that house? He goes, the house still looks the same in the inside.
Oh
So yeah.
no.
So I was telling them this, and all the whole story that I told you, that I'm telling, the audience here, he was just like super quiet. He didn't want to say anything. And uh so then I said, well, did you experience anything like that? And he goes, well, no, me and my family, we rented this house for 10 years. And I go, maybe my son has seen some stuff, but he smokes weed and stuff like that. Like, he was like in total, I think he was in total shock what I told him, especially that I
Right.
told him that someone had died in that house. So yeah, but the irony is that he didn't want to like elaborate anymore
Hmm.
than what it seemed. Now, now I've only visited my old childhood home twice. I went actually yeah, only twice. I went back in when my grandmother died. We went back in 1980, in November of 1980. That house was boarded up. I
Oh
went back
wow.
in '95. I went back in '95 because I have, and the only reason I go to Elgin is because I have an older brother that passed away, and any opportunity I get, I go to Elgin. I pass by there, and I go to his gravesite, where he's buried at. And the next time I went in '95, the boards were taken off of that house, so someone was already living there. So
Yeah.
then somebody had actually messaged me, and I spoke to them, and I told them everything that I was telling you, telling the audience. And she says that Elgin is known for um, a city that has had a lot of paranormal activity, especially on that block itself,
Oh my gosh.
on that whole blank of Franklin Avenue. Now, um, of course, we're talking about Fred and Anthony. Fred and Stephen. I'm sorry. And I was telling them about what was happening, and I even told them everything that I'm telling our audience here. And he says, "Well, maybe there's people that were buried in that land,
Yeah,
you know,
underneath.
for a lot of things to happen." Because he was telling me about an unsolved mystery case where in Houston, this lady, they uncovered, I guess it was a Confederate gravesite that was buried on their property.
Oh
And when they dug up, when they were doing landscaping, they dug up some of the bones. So they went ahead and reburied them. But then after that happened, a lot of shit started happening, and they ended up having two deaths in the family. uh and it got to the point that that family went uh declared bankruptcy because they tried to sue the city of Houston. It's a very sad
wow.
story. So yeah, but Fred and Steven were saying, you know what, there's a possibility that that whole area
Yeah.
there is probably was an ancient cemetery at one point in time,
Yeah.
because that house was built in 1920. And I'm like, okay, so what was there prior to 1920? So so yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
so that is a crazy story. I mean, yeah, as far as paranormal, that's something that I witnessed uh firsthand at a younger age. I mean, I know it's not San Antonio, but I mean,
No,
it's
just
just it's just weird. And then my cousin, Gloria, was telling me that she goes, Elgin has some really fucked up shit there because they lived in an apartment where it was haunted too. So it was like,
what's going on in Elgin,
yeah,
y'all?
well, there is a site too in Elgin. If you go on Facebook, I forgot what it's called. It's called the Paranormal Society of Elgin, and there is the Elgin Asylum, and they're saying that that is haunted too. So yeah,
Ooh, I love asylums.
so yeah, so I would look into it. I tried reaching out to them about my story, but I never got a response. So,
Well,
so
I love that story. That was awesome.
yeah, yeah.
It
It's I
reminds
mean,
me of that Resident Evil game that came out where like it takes you around and around in the same house over and over again,
yeah,
and like
yeah,
different things happen, and it
yeah.
seems to mess with your mind. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and the majority of it was happening more to my dad more than anything. I mean, me, I was more scared to go down there and get a glass of water because I would see, someone, peeking through that. Through, I mean, that's eerie. That's something that I will never forget. I mean, being that young. I mean, there's things in your childhood that you will always remember, and you'll like totally like freak out about it. And it's weird because a couple of Christmas ago when my brother was alive, we were talking about it, me and my other siblings, and I had never told them about that incident. I always felt like I always would see somebody like peeking out, and they go, "Well, you never told us that." I'm like, "Sorry." I go, "You never asked."
right? And
Because
isn't it?
I'm the baby of the family. That I go, you guys are gonna say, "Oh, well, the baby of the family's just making it up." Or
Yeah,
se
I
está
get that
poniendo
all the time.
chiflado. Yeah, se está
Yeah.
poniendo chiflado. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I mean it's weird, It's just it's just weird. There's also stories. I mean, again, I've done a little bit of family history. That's a little bit of my family story. But my great grandfather used to hunt lechuzas too, also, and he
Wow.
used to hunt lechuza, which is and they say the way to catch them, you're supposed to tie them with the talon, and you're supposed to tie 7 knots, and you're supposed to say, I think what is called los siete dichos del mundo, and then
Right.
you tie them 7 knots, or like the Lord's Prayer or something like that, and then you're supposed to untie it, and then supposedly you kill the lechuza. Well, my great grandfather, what I didn't know, he was a bootlegger. And he was a bootlegger, and he would transport booze from the United States to Mexico, from Lower Laredo to Eagle Pass, and all that stuff. And one time he went, and he they would pay him to hunt these lechuzas. And one time he caught one, and one of them told him, suéltame, suéltame. La bruja said, suéltame. Digo, no que te suelto la chingada, aquí te voy a chingar, boom, 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 and he's doing the, I guess, I don't know what it is, Santeria chant or whatever the hell it is. And he said that the lechuza told him, well, I'll make it worth your while, I promise, I'll set you free, I'll set you free. And so I guess my great grandfather had a heart. And he says, "Okay, but if you come near my family, or if you come near me," he goes, I'll fucking kill you." Because what they would do that. They would break the curse, and then they would blow their heads off like that. So then one time he got busted. My great grandfather got busted in a raid, right? And the transito, the police came, and it's weird because they arrested everybody, and they didn't arrest him. Like, he was invisible to everybody, and he's like freaking out. So he just gets his cash, he gets his money, and he walks out, and he's thinking, why the fuck they didn't catch me? And he remembered about the bruja that lived in Nuevo Laredo. So he went and he found that bruja, and he goes, oye, he goes, esa era tú que me salvaste. And that the brujo, the lechuza brujo, told him, yeah. He goes, now we're even. So after that, my great grandfather, he stopped hunting lechuzas after that. But
That's
but but there was an article, I found it a long time ago, about people that actual people that did that, and a lot of people. It was a very dangerous job, because you're dealing with some messed up forces out there.
oh yeah.
You-
Yeah,
so
that's
so
smart.
he basically stopped doing that. That was one of the stories that my grandmother had told my brother, and my brother had told me this, like, probably I want to say 2 years ago, And I go, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, so yeah. So, but yeah, people would hunt lechuzas for sport. So
That's
yeah,
crazy. I've always heard stories of like people getting whistled at by lechuzas, people seeing lechuzas. Never anyone who's known someone to actually catch them and like
yeah,
try to sell them. That's wow.
yeah. Oh well, okay. Well, here's another one. Me and my same friend, the one that we went to his house to of course, translate the Return Jedi experience. We went to Fiesta one year. This I want to say this is probably 92, 93. We went to Fiesta, and of course back then Fiesta was very like they had the carnival. It was Market Square, the carnival, San Fernando, and if you wanted to walk the distance to the other side of downtown, and the hemisphere had La Semana Alegre, but we decided not to go to La Semana Alegre. So we went back. I mean, we went back from Market Square, past the carnival to San Fernando, and back where the San Antonio Fire Department and the police department offices is at. There used to be a Kmart there, and there used to be a picnic store. There used to be a convenience store. So what we would do is instead of buying, beer for like that for like $3, we ended up buying like 4 or 5 Miller quarts, and I would take it in my backpack, and we'd go back. I mean, we were so lit. I mean, we were lit. So we're walking home, and I grew up in the King William area, which they call the Southtown area, which is the arts district.
Mhm.
A lot of people like to call it the King William area. A lot of people now call it the Southtown area. And we're walking down St. Mary's, and we're passing by my old elementary school. Now if you pass by my old elementary school, it's well lit up. The trees aren't like crossed over on the street like that. They cleaned it up. And my best friend said, Arturo said, he goes, you know that there's a lechuza around here. I go, shut the fuck up. I'm like, we're walking staggering on St. Mary Street, and he goes, I go, shut the fuck up. Ain't no lechuza. I mean, shut the fuck up. He goes, yeah, if you hear a whistle, and he goes, and I go, dude, shut up. I go, shut the fuck up. I mean, he's literally whistling to try to scare me, right?
Mm-mm.
And then all of a sudden, we're walking and we hear,
Oh
and
no.
I'm like, holy fuck. And I look at him and he looks at me and I'm like, I remember the movie. You remember the movie Creep Show? Remember when in that segment of the crate where that creature, that fluffy creature goes like
Yeah.
that? Well, that whistle kind of sounded like that, but it was a
Oi.
little louder, and it was like, oh shit. And we looked, and I didn't take any second. It was like my moment of sobriety, like left, because we were gonna go to the pig stands, which is right across from where the 101 Southtown bar is. It's no longer there. And I just took off and I fucking ran. I swooped my friend. I ran all the way down towards I-37. I mean, I went down Preside past Taco Haven. I went down on Carolina Street, and he goes, "Hey, fucker, why did you leave me by myself?" I said, "Fuck that shit." I go, "I heard that," and we just took off running, right? And it turns out that one of my high school friends, uh, Adriana Soto, used to live in a house behind Bonham Elementary, and she told me that there was a lechuza there, and that there was a bruja living around there. And
Oh
then, yeah,
no.
so yeah, so I'm like,
Uh-uh.
oh shit. I'm like, oh, I go, now you tell me, because I had explained that I had told her that story, and she was like, yeah, there was a bruja that was living around that area. I'm like, oh
Oh my
shit.
god. Imagine if y'all would have gotten caught, no hombre.
No, hombre, hell no. I would have, no, hombre, I left my friend smoking in the dust. I mean, I didn't think twice about it because I know it wasn't him, because the way he was whistling, he was just going, and then this whistle was totally different. And I'm like, oh, hell
Uh-uh.
no. So yeah,
Yeah, no.
when you're amongst friends, you know their voices, you know the way they act, and
Mhm.
if it's something out of the norm, I'm like, fuck that, I'm taking off.
Yeah, no. We went to the forest one time, me, Anthony, Lurker, and and Pedro, and we were
Uh-huh.
just walking around in Anthony's infamous forest. And Lurker's like, "Hey, Anthony, whistle!" And I said, "Hell no, you better not whistle. I can't run fast, but I'm gonna run fast today."
Yeah.
You go
Oh
find
my
out.
God. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, so like that stuff. I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm not sticking around for that party. I'm like, you can
Nope.
party with the juice all you want. But yeah, my still, I mean, I became sober like in less than 0.2 seconds, and that was it. So yeah, because we have been, yeah, I mean, we have been partying. I mean, we have been partying really, really hardy that day. But yeah, so, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, San Antonio's known, for having, its own, urban legends and stuff like that. As far as
Mhm.
uh, paranormal, activity and all that stuff. So yeah.
So there is one urban legend that everyone knows about. It's the whole dancing with the devil thing. Have you ever thought about drawing that urban legend out?
Oh yeah, I've done. Actually, I did a Kiss version of the Urban Legends,
Oh,
but I did
cool.
it like the Rock and Roll Over, and then I did do one of the Dancing Devil, but he's dressed up in the Saturday Night Fever outfit.
Nice.
Yeah, and he's embracing the girl like that. And I did like the disco lights around on the border, stuff like that. It was one of my very earlier works and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows about that, the legend of the Dancing Devil. It's it's weird because it was a Camarocito nightclub, then it was another nightclub named, and it was a strip club
Yeah.
at one point in time, and and now it's a Michoacana now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Imagine.
yeah,
Imagine that one.
but you know what's weird is that my nephew he drives this he drives a Mitsubishi Lancer with these pipes, um kind of like these Euro muffler pipes that go up,
Uh-huh.
and he took his little devil plush and he goes, I go, let's see if we see a chamuco here. He walks into the Michoacan. I'm like, oh my god, but
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
But yeah, I mean those are just like, the legends, of course, the donkey lady, and then of course the Llorona midget mansion, the railroad tracks, of course,
Yeah.
we can forget that one, as well. So but yeah, I mean those are just like urban legends that we have, and I'm sure that there are other towns that have their own urban legends as well.
Right.
but yeah, I mean, but I mean, those are stories that we still, keep near and dear to our hearts. Also, like there's one that people used to call, it used to be you would call this number, and then you would hear like this, they said that was a donkey lady number. And then
Oh,
there was another one that would go wah wah wah, and that was a Llorona number. I forgot those numbers. But if
I
you
want to
would
try those now.
I know. I wish I knew the numbers. If anybody knows the numbers,
I gotta try
I can
that.
message us. I mean, make sure to see if those numbers work or not anymore. But I mean, that would be like one story to really go into. Like, what was it that you were calling
Yeah.
that would do that? Because it was two, it was the donkey lady, and then the Llorona, and then people were saying that when you would hear they said that sometimes that you would hear a voice. I don't know.
Wow.
So,
See,
so
I've
if any,
never heard of that.
if any of if my 50-year-old plus friends know that number or have any proof of that, please, maybe
Let
put a
us know.
comment below. Like, yeah, I heard that person talk on the phone or what have you. But yeah, those are just one of the many childhood things that I know of from back in the day. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but yeah.
um, so do you have any art shows coming up?
Yes, I do. I actually have one this weekend. It's at Wonderland Mall. It's called Love at First Bite, and it is actually run by the Kings of Horror at Wonderland Mall. We got some other great events that I'm going to be part of. They're having what is called the Queens of Horror, and they're all female ladies that are going to be there doing meet and greets. That won't be until May actually. One of the actresses that they confirmed was one of the actors that came out in the movie called "I Spit on Your Grave." I don't know if you've seen it. It's a cult movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, check it out on Shudder. It's very disturbing. So, but they say that at the end of the movie, I won't give it away because you're gonna have to watch it. It was kind of like it captures the essence of the '70s, the uh, the sexist view of it, but also the women's liberation of it at the end. I won't give it away,
Nice.
so check it out. But as far as these next coming months, I got that one on Saturday. Then I have the Como La Flor market at Rolling Oaks Mall. It is a Selena tribute show. So I will be at that one. And then 2 weeks later, I will be at the Zombie Feast Fest. And it's going to include five cast members of the Return of the Living Dead: Alan Trotman, Leanna Quigley, Tom Matthews, um, David Nunez, and the actress that played Tina. Now, for those of you that don't know Tom Matthews and David Nunez, they were part of the Friday the 13th franchise. I think one of them came out in part three and the other one came out in part two. Also, David Nunez is known for playing uh, the movie Joanna Man as well. So he's
Nice.
the actors that plays Jordan Jeffries in the movie. Leanna Quigley is known as the Scream Queen, and Alan Trotman, who played the Tarman, was also a professional puppeteer who did the Muppets as well. So
Oh, that's cool.
there's going to be meet and greets there, so you'll be able to meet with them. You're able to get autographs. There's going to be vendors there as well, and moving on forward towards the end of the year, I'm going to be part of another event through. It's going to be '70s retro, and there's going to be a Warriors reunion, and it's going to be four cast members of the Warriors: Michael Beck, David Harris, who played Cochise, uh, Terry Michos, who played Vermin, and the guy that played the Fox. Alongside with them, there's going to be two other actors from the original Willy Wonka, Mike Teavee and Veruca Salt will be
Oh,
there,
how cool.
and that's going to be in November. And from what I've been hearing, I think they're going to add two more cast members of the Warriors, but that we won't know until much later. But I know I'm going to
Right.
be part of that show, and I'm going to be cosplaying as a baseball fury for sure on that one. I'm very stoked for that show.
That is
And
so cool.
yeah, so then that's it. So yeah, so those are the shows that I got from the whole month of well, I guess you're getting the alert too. I
Yeah.
just got the
Sorry.
yeah, I got the Amber. Yeah, I got the Amber alert too. But yeah, those are my shows that are coming up, and I guess that's it. And then of course the Fiesta Metal event. I got a new Fiesta Metal that I got out for this year. It
Ooh.
mimics the Metallica and Justice for All cover, but it's called In Fiesta for All, and it has the Lady Justice with the chicken on the stick on the sword, and a
Nice.
lot of little the icons, falling down. And that won't be until April 6th. So yeah, I'm pretty busy from now until then, but I try to keep ahead of all my uh, shows, just trying to create art and stuff like that, or for future shows and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's what I got coming up.
Man, you're a busy guy.
Yeah, I try to stay busy. I try to keep everything fresh, and then of course, one of the bigger events I have in July is Frida Fest, and that is going to be held at Rolling Oaks Mall. I believe it is the weekend of the 13th and 14th. But
Oh,
if you follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll be able to see like all the future shows that I got. Usually, I try to post them ahead of time. I'm in the process of maybe doing another show in May, but in Denton, Texas. And uh, Necroflesh events who had the Suspiria event last week. Um, they invited me to see if I would to go vend over Denton, Texas, where Leanna Quigley is going to be, and of course, Leanna Quigley is going to be here next month. So, and that would be a 2 day event, and that's the same time that Texas Frightmare Weekend is going on, and it's like one of the biggest horror conventions in Texas. So
Ooh,
if you're not doing anything after Frightmare, that event will be held in the evening as well. So and there are a lot of people that they like to either go to Frightmare 1 day or 2 days, or some people go to all 3 days. But there will be there for 2 days. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully, I'll be able to be uh, part of that event as well.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
Hmm. Awesome.
Um, so you mentioned the Selena tribute. Did
Yes.
you hear that Yolanda's coming out with her own like docu series?
Yes.
Are
Yes.
you
That's
gonna watch that?
there's people that say that they're not going to watch it, but they're going to end up watching it eventually because people are the way I see people are intrigued about anything that's true crime, anything that involves celebrities. Oh, we're not going to watch it. No, they're going to end up watching it. I mean,
Hmm.
the way I see it, I mean, the way I see it, I mean, they're saying, oh well, oh it's money to pay Yolanda's commissary, da 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 da, all the rumors that go on, but I somebody got money under the table to do that. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I'm sure they had to get permission from the Quintanilla family. I mean, come on, you can't bullshit. I'm sorry, but you can't bullshit a bullshitter because
No.
they could either say, oh, the Quintanilla family declined to be part of this documentary. They always have to put it. There's always a disclaimer. I took a communications class in college, and there's always a disclaimer where they cannot reveal their sources. So they could always say, yeah, just as long as you pay us a little bit of money under the table, we'll be
Yep.
good. That's the way I see it. But I mean, what other secrets, can she have? I mean, what we already know about the doctor in Mexico, about her plastic surgery, about her and Yolanda being in cahoots together. I mean, people will still want to see it to be intrigued. It's kind of like the Kennedy assassination. You're intrigued about the conspiracy. Are they going to release any more uh, uh, documents that are related to that one incident? We already know the CIA, the mafia were involved in that. Just come
Hmm.
fucking clean with it. You've already killed off all the witnesses pretty much. So, it's kind of like that. I mean, I mean, they know who did it. I mean, they know. I mean, it's
Yep.
just that a lot of people were just intrigued about with true crime, and of course with just like a lot of people are intrigued about the 27 Club. Jim Morrison's death, was it an overdose, or did he really have a heart attack in the bathtub? Those things, those little things. Kurt Cobain, that's another story. Kurt Cobain, did Courtney Love have Kurt Cobain assassinated, and have it made it set up as a suicide? I'm sure you've heard
Yep.
about that too. So I mean, there's a good documentary called I think it's called Living in Bleach, and there's this private investigator that they think that Courtney Love had something to do with Kurt Cobain's alleged murder suicide, quote unquote.
Wow.
So yeah, so we as a public, I think we're intrigued about true crime, and we want to know the truth. But what other truth does Yolanda have to offer? I mean, I
Yep.
mean, we won't know unless people say they're going to watch, but they'll end up watching. They'll
No,
end up
they'll watch.
they'll watch eventually. If we're so intrigued about conspiracy theories, aliens, Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, people will watch. I mean,
Oh
hello.
yeah.
I mean, look at all the people that were buying the alien autopsy video. Then
Yeah.
what was it? It was all fake and shit. So I mean, it's like I mean, are there other beings out there with UFOs? I mean, is our government using aircraft that goes? I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we know. I mean, it's like Just come clean with it. It's like shit. And I'll give you a prime example of this. Like the year that I released my metal in 2019, right? Well, there was another segment that same evening about the one of the SAPD officers was the sniper that killed the sniper, right? The lie that supposedly they put out was that the sniper, Ira Atbury, committed suicide. Now, all of a sudden, 40 years later, oh, I'm the sniper that killed the sniper. Well, then why didn't you just say so? You're a police officer. You're doing your fucking, it's like, hey, man, the guy was just trying to do his pinche job, man. Come clean. You had to do what you had to do. Hey, you prevented people from getting, killed. I mean, I'm sure, oh, well, you would have had backlash from the public. Hey, this guy was, shooting up people. I mean, it's like shit. I mean, you did what you had to do. I mean, it wasn't like the pinches pollones and fucking Uvalde that didn't want to go and, go to that shooter. I mean, you clearly see it clear as day on video. I mean, come on. I mean, it's like, and that's why they're in the mess that they're in right now. Could they prevented it? I don't know but that's a whole, like I said, that's a whole different narrative. That's a whole different story. But I mean, come clean with the truth. And that's all people want to know is the truth. And that's it. But
and it's like they say, the truth sets you free. Like if you have that much of a guilty conscience and you know what you did and you did it for the right reasons, why not just say it?
Exactly. And you can go back to A Christmas Carol where the fucking ghost of Christmas past is telling, Scrooge, truth lives. And Scrooge gets pissed off and he fucking covers her with the fucking cone and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like that's kind of like the narrative of how our society is as far as that, because they're scared that the truth will set you free, but they're scared of the truth, pretty much, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a great movie that I saw with Al Pacino. It's called Injustice for All, and the final segment of that movie, it's Justice is trying to find the meaning of the truth and all that stuff, and of course he does his Al Pacino blow up at the end. If you want to watch it, I think it's on HBO Max. I think that movie's on there, but it's an older movie and it'll show you how corrupt the justice system is in a sense, even to back then. But there's a lot of great actors: Jack Warden, William Forsythe, who was in Dynasty. Uh, I think it's Tom Waits. Tom Waits, who was in The Thing, who played the Fox in The Warriors, is in there. Craig T. Nelson is in that movie. And then there's another actor that came out in The Ropers. He's in that movie as well too. But yeah, I mean, it makes you think of things in a different light, so to say, and that's something that I think, why lie to the public? Just come clean, That's it, That's what I believe in. But of course, government, not to get too political, but they're trying to cover their own asses, and they're afraid that, oh well, if we disclose this much, it might cost us this, it might cost us that. But people just want people to be honest with it, like,
Yeah.
just, I mean, and I mean, like I said, I don't know what ace cards Yolanda's gonna have. I mean, she's used up all her fucking ace cards.
She's out.
First she says, oh, she calls her a bitch, she shoots her. Then she says, oh, it was an accident. No, you killed her in cold blood. That's why you're in prison. That's it. So, but that's pretty much it. I mean, is there injustice in the world? Yes. I mean, let's not look too far. The San Antonio Four, they were wrongfully accused. They were wrongfully guilty, but thanks to the grace of God and the Innocence Project, they're free and stuff like that. I mean, but it sucks because things like that shouldn't happen.
Right.
No, but yeah,
I agree.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, one more time for our viewers, let us where can we find you at and all your awesome artwork?
Yeah, you could find me under ArtStar70 on Instagram. You could find me under Isreal Rico on Facebook. I do have a TikTok. I haven't used it as much, but that one is also ArtStar70 under ArtStar1970 on TikTok as well. And I'm always posting my events. I'm always posting my art. Mainly my Instagram is it's most of my artwork is on there. My Facebook is normally I'm just bantering with my friends back and forth, but I post my in progress and stuff like that. You could see like what I'm working on and whatever shows I got coming up as well, and just give me a follow, give me a like, and all that stuff, and come out to the events. The events that we have, they're pretty fun and they're pretty cool.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, this is an amazing time talking to you.
No,
Appreciate
well,
you taking time out of your day.
thank you for having me. I had a great time.
We definitely need to do this again. I definitely want to reach out to you again, and we can talk about your next show and how it went.
Sure, sure.
And hopefully, they you hear back from the crazy people in Illinois, so we can figure out what's going on there. Take a little
Yeah,
road
I
trip
mean,
with Anthony.
yeah. Like I said, I mean, like I said, Elgin, they have their, and they have a site. They have a Facebook site. They did have a. I think they did have a website at one point in time, but I think whenever you click on it, it says page not found. So of course, I mean, it, pages come and go, but I know that Elgin it's known for having a lot of like creepy, creepy stuff going on there. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if I mean if they have countless stories and stuff like that, and just by what my cousin was telling me alone about about the stuff that she experienced and about my experience, because she didn't even know, she wasn't even born yet when all that stuff was happening. So up until, because she actually lives in Elgin, the town that I was born in, so she lives there now.
that's crazy.
So
It's
yeah,
like me. I live here in San Marcos, and I've lived so close to San Antonio, and I don't even know half of the haunted stuff that goes on there.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's
you'll be
crazy.
surprised. You'll be very surprised.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come speak with me and giving us an opportunity to get to know you and get to know your artwork and everything.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me, and hopefully we'll do this again, and thank you again, and thanks to everybody for watching, and tune in and give me a follow.
Yes, be sure to follow this guy. Buy some of his artwork. It's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
All right.